There we go. All right, now we're back. So, thought 1800s, and I wanted to show you, I'm going to jump back right quick. Cognition. Just to show you guys 1800s, right? Again, so 1800s, we're just looking at the timeline right now. Right? All right, 1800s. And of course, this is not to say that was the exact point, but give or take, that's the bulk of the usage, right, of the term. But when we're talking about thought, right, let me give it back, get the screen back to y'all. Sorry for that. When we're talking about thought, you know, look, let's look at this. So Denkin, right, and then we also got thinking. All right. I'm just pulling these up just to see if we can find anything. So just verb conjugation. All right. So nothing on the Google about that, but we had to dig a little bit deeper. So when we're looking at the noun of thought, right, it's an idea or opinion produced by thinking or occurring suddenly in the mind. All right, so there has to be something, you know, going on already in your head, in one's mind or attention, right? You have to give some focus to it, right? An act considering or remembering someone or something, an intention, hope, idea, doing something, receiving something, the action or process of thinking, right? So it could, you know, it could be one thought, it could be multiple thoughts that you're having. To think, the verb, right? Have a particular opinion, belief, or idea about someone or something. Direct one's mind towards someone or something. Now this is important. The verb, think. So thinking is a verb, right? And it says direct one's mind towards someone or something. Use one's mind actively to form connected ideas. All right? And let's just talk about that for a second. So, directing the mind towards a focused either object or person or, you know, another idea to, you know, develop it. And it kind of reminds you, let's see if I can find my circle 7 right here. See if I can find that part, and y'all let me know. But I think that might have something to do with this part where it says something about the, you know, the workshop of the mind and these tools and things of that sort. And at the end of the day, you know, they're talking about thought and the power of the mind. But, you know, and that's within our, you know, text as Moors. So this is what's coming out of the secrets of the East, right? That were held back from the rest of the world, but were given to the Moors because we needed, you know, we needed to profit the most, and we needed the truth, right? So as we're, you know, as I'm looking this up, I'm you know, contemplating on the fact of like how can we as Moors better focus our thoughts, right? Because the brother's question was talking about cognitive thinking, and he was saying, you know, basically how can cognitive thinking help with the, you know, mental activities and skills, or performing such skills and tasks such as learning, reasoning, understanding, remembering, paying attention, and more. And it's like the brain, in a lot of ways, modern science has found out in a lot of ways the brain mimics the modern computer, right? In the sense that you can program it to do certain tasks, you can train it, right? And then we know the muscles have, just generally what's known as muscle memory, right? You ask a boxer or anybody that's, done sports or anything, why they practice so much. It's not really so much to build the physical strength of doing the act of hitting the ball or, catching it or whatever. It's more so to become more skilled at it so that you can do it in a number of ways, right? And be, more flexible and more effective at the end of the day. But you definitely want to make sure that you're building up that muscle memory so that when it, when times of stress, it's the fourth quarter, what have you, you're not even thinking necessarily about what to do next. Your body already knows. Islam, you already know what to do next because you've been building up that muscle memory, from the jump, from the jake. You know what I mean? Like you really have to pay attention, to proper preparation prevents poor performance. Like that phrase. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. So if I'm preparing for something, or if not so much that I'm preparing for something, but if I'm being a good steward, kind of taking off the things from last week about talking about trust. If I'm being a good steward, there's certain things that I need to be doing to preserve what I have, right? And with that, if I'm not preserving it, then it's going to wither away and I'm not going to have it much longer. Now, and I'm still looking for this piece, and you guys let me know if you know the chapter that I was alluding to earlier about where he's talking about the workshop of the mind, because at the moment I'm thinking about a number of things to talk about at the same time. But let me just read this, and y'all help me out in the chat. But this is from chapter 38, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, the Soul of Man. All right. The blessing, O man, of thy external part is health, vigor, and proportion. The greatest of these is health. What health is to the body, even that is honesty to the soul. That thou hast a soul is of all knowledge the most certain of all truths, the most plain unto thee. Be meek, be grateful for it. Seek not to know it perfectly. It is inscrutable. Islam. Peace. Just for those who just checking in, for right now, please turn off your cameras and mute the mic just to say the bandwidth, and then we open the floor for questions. We can open it back up. All right. I ain't want he had to leave. All right. But Islam. All right. Thank you more. All right. We're gonna keep it moving. Sorry for that. I didn't mean to run them off. Hold on, maybe that's him. And I don't mean to be trying to scare nobody or nothing, but I just it's housekeeping. All right, he got it. All right. Anyway, verse 3: thinking, understanding. All right, he back. We good. Thinking, understanding, reasoning, willing. Call not these the soul. They are its actions, but they are not its essence. Raise it not too high. Talking about the soul, right? Raise it not too high, that thou be not despised. Be not thou like unto those who fall by climbing, neither debase it to the sense of brutes, nor be thou like the horse and the mule, in whom there is no understanding. Chapter 5. Thank you, Islam. I'm going to jump right to that. All right. And I'm just going to finish this chapter out because it's, the spirit is moving me, Islam. just a tad. Verse 5: search it by its faculties, know it by its virtues. We're still talking about the soul. This is chapter 38. Holy instructions from the prophet, the soul of man. If you guys just joined us from the Circle 7. Search it by its faculties, know it by its virtues. They are more in number than the hairs of thy head. The stars of heaven are not to be counted with them. Right? Now, these faculties, when they talk about search it by its faculties, know it by its virtues, we're talking about the soul, right? But we could also, because we know if we understand the laws of correspondence, and if you did the homework, which we'll touch on the homework in a second, which was the 7 Hermetic principles, if you want to look that up. The law of correspondence. Then we might have some internet issues. Let me reset in the chat room. All right. Islam. So if you just getting back, sorry for the technical issues. They hating on us. But if we understand the law of correspondence, we know that the same things or the same principles, universal principles we find in the universe, dwell within the soul of man. And based on the same laws of correspondence, those same things, those same faculties and virtues can be found within the human mind, right? So let's just keep that in mind, as a basis for when we talk about search it by its faculties, know it by its virtues, right? And we're talking about the theme today, which is cognitive thinking, right? They are more in number than the hairs of thy head. The abilities of the mind, right? The abilities of the soul. They're more vast in number than the hairs on your head, right? More than the stars of heaven. And it says the stars of heaven are not to be counted with them, right? So it's like you can't even really compare the two. But the spirit, the mind, or the soul, all of these, these characteristics are dwelling amongst all of these because, Allah dwells within man and, within everything, right? But going on, just to continue out the chapter, it says here, think not with Arabia that one soul is parted among all men. Neither believe thou with the sons of Egypt that every man hath many. Know that as thy heart, so also thy soul is one. Islam. And this is verse 7, doth not the sun harden the clay? Doth it not also soften the wax? Chapter 37. Let me type it for you. Take your time. He said, take your time. All right. I'm going to take my time with it then. But I don't want this to be like church at all. Islam, like y'all supposed to be coming with it too now. And one day y'all gonna get up here. Islam, verse 7: doth not the sun harden the clay? Doth it not also soften the wax? Also, it is one sun that worketh both. Even so, it is one soul willeth contraries. Right? So when they're talking about the sun and this attribute of the sun being able, right? This attribute or the faculty of the sun to harden clay, right? To make something more firm, more solid, but that very same faculty, that very same heat, right? That you can apply to clay to make something more firm. Islam. Islam Zefiana Bayil. Islam. That same faculty can also be used to melt wax, right? To make something less formed, right? Or less solid. So just keep that in mind when we're talking about matter, all right? We're talking about, the situation or the atmosphere, right? Spiritually, metaphysically, okay? That star that dwells within you can demonstrate those same faculties, right? On a metaphysical, on a spiritual level. For real. On a physical level, for real. Right? If we tap in to our inner self, our higher self, and understanding and overstanding ourselves, and we can do some amazing things. But you got to let go. All right, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Just let go of the foolishness. Islam, don't, right? And then it goes into verse 8, right? Islam, as the moon retaineth her nature, thought darkens, spread itself, right? Follow me now. As the moon retaineth her nature, though darkness spread itself before her face as a curtain, so the soul remaineth perfect even in the bosom of a fool. Right? So, I'm just going to leave it right there. All right, so verse 9. She is immortal. She is unchangeable. She is alike in all. Talking about the soul. Health calleth her forth to show her loveliness, and application anointeth her with the oil of wisdom. Although she live after thee, think not she was born before thee. She was created with thy flesh and formed with thy brain. Right? So, when they talk about the Immaculate Conception being, man himself, now, through this key, we can understand and understand why. Because our soul was not created prior to our, manifesting in this earth plane. It was created in the midst of it during the 9 months of the womb. Islam. That's why that 9 months of conception is so important, for teaching. That's why that's the first school. Islam. Because your soul is literally being formed. And like we were talking about before, the sun, it can form clay. It can, it can make the clay hard, or it can melt the wax. It can make a firm character. It can make a weak character, of the person that's being formed in that womb. Right? So mothers, be very mindful. Use your cognitive thinking while you're, going through your pregnancy as much as you can to, and if you know any midwives or whatever, if you know any mothers that had children, they'll tell you that you gotta, keep in mind, where your head is at, not to stress out too much. And there's reasons behind that, Islam. So just to keep it going, verse 10. So let me just read verse 9 again. She is immortal. She is unchangeable. She is alike in all. Health calleth her forth to show her loveliness, and application anointeth her with the oil of wisdom. Also, I just wanted to say, just to be, fair, men, that also means it's incumbent upon you to step it up during the pregnancy, not to step out. But I'll just leave that where it is. Y'all already know the business. Just stop stepping out on the family. We got to build this thing up at the end of the day. Islam. And the whole point of being a husband is to be the house binder. That you really get into the Edamon. And that's just coming from the round table and the ciphers. You got to bind everything together. So if it's not working, you got to figure out how to make it work. You know what I mean? Or, it's not a house. It's not a home. You know what I mean? It's just not a home no more. And you just might want to do something else and go find somebody, something that you can work with or that's more compatible with you, rather than, destroying something. But if you got a family, try to make it work. You know what I mean? Don't just run from it. You got to bind that thing together. Now, if it comes loose, you got to tie it back up. Make sure that it's secure next time. But Islam, I ain't gonna get too deep into it. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Islam. Everybody that's been there, although she shall live after thee, think not she was born before thee. She was created with thy flesh and formed with thy brain. Justice could not give her to thee exalted by virtues, nor mercy deliver her to thee deformed by vices. These must be thine, and thou must answer for them. All right. Suppose not death can shield thee from examination. Think not corruption can hide thee from injury. Islam. Suppose not death can shield thee from examination. Don't think that death is going get you out of it. Suicide is not the way, folks. Sacrificing yourself ain't the way. For real. Think not corruption can hide thee from inquiry. Right? So don't think that you can be corrupt and get away from the questions that are going to come. Everything that's done in the dark is going to come forth in the light. You know what I mean? Like, stop trying to come sideways with your schemes and your plots and just come correct, and you could get a lot more done. I wouldn't have to give people such a hard time if they, just was above board about what the heck they was doing from the gate, Islam. But if you coming sideways, you're going to get a sideways answer. Like, what you think this is? I'm not trying to help the unjust prosper in life. Like, I'm trying to help the just, the righteous, who's striving and struggling to survive just like I am. Y'all ain't really in the struggle if you're trying to do wrong to get by. Like, you know what I mean? If you're trying to do wrong. Like, I can see if you have no other choice and you like, it's life or death type of thing, whatever. But if you're trying to do wrong, you're not really trying to learn your lesson. The real, we'll get into that later. Let's get back to cognitive thinking. If you think it through first, you may not have to do that, Mistakes, they going live in the chat. It said we live and we learn. Mistakes are not to be repeated. Islam, they're really not. If it's a mistake, then it's a mistake. But after that, you knew better. It's not no mistake after that. You're just doing wrong. Islam. So let me read this verse 12 again. Oh, I'm losing them. I'm losing them in the chat room. Let me reset right quick. Hold on. I think oh man, yeah, energy is everything. Energy is everything, Islam. Oh man. I don't know what nerves I'm hitting today, but they needed to get touched on. Islam. Spirit is moving today, boy. Man. Every word is spirit, Islam. Let me just gain my composure. All right. Thank you. All right. So verse 12. Suppose not death can shield thee from examination. Think not corruption can hide thee from inquiry. He who formed thee of thou knowest not what? Can he not knowest not what? Can he not raise thee from thou knowest not what again? Let me read that again. Suppose not death can shield thee from examination. Think not corruption can hide thee from inquiry. He who formed thee from thou knowest not what? Can he not raise thee from thou knowest not what again? So he who formed thee of thou knowest not what. I might have to come back to that one because we're using the these and the thous, and I don't want to lose y'all, so we just gonna keep it moving. All right, perceiveth not the cock or the clock. The hour of midnight. I think that's supposed to be the clock. Perceiveth not the clock, the hour of midnight. Exalteth he not his voice to tell thee it is morning. Knoweth not the dog the footsteps of his master. Flieth not the wounded goat. Fleeth not, I think that's supposed to be flee. Fleeth not the wounded goat unto the herb that healeth him. Yet when these die, their spirit returneth to dust. Thine alone surviveth. Envy not to these their senses, because quicker thine own. So envy not these senses, envy not these their senses, because quicker thine own. Because quicker than thine own. Sorry, I'm getting a little dyslexic with this. Let's get this running together. Let me put my finger on this. because I'm thinking about this, and I'm really like visualizing this as I'm reading it, y'all. You know, and it's teaching me as I'm reading it to you all, and it's an amazing experience. I can't really explain it. Learn that the advantage lieth not in possessing good things, but in the knowing to use them. Right now, this is something, and I believe I may have the sign wrong, but if you're looking at like Virgo and or Libra, they're really good with balancing and using resources, right? And if we understand the cipher of the zodiac, we're supposed to be able to embody all of that, right? To some degree, to be able to make the perfect man, right? And if we use the workshop of the mind, we can get there a whole lot quicker, right? But when we start looking outside of ourselves and searching for everything external, rather than using that third eye, or that first eye, to examine whatever it is that we want to know or learn about, and then taking that examination and then bringing it back to the workshop of the mind, and then working it some more, all right? Because one thing I was thinking about as I was preparing for the class is like, in the workshop of the mind, right, you can be wrong all day long and test your theories out and come to a conclusion once you bring your thoughts to the table, based on research and actual work, and then find out that you were wrong, and it doesn't necessarily hurt you, right? If you haven't been acting on it and you haven't been doing nothing crazy with what you just were thinking and assuming. But if you just assume in your mind that this is what it is, and then you out there acting on it and you never did any research behind it, well, then when you find out that you was wrong, well, you didn't take the time to think about it. Then that's what that shows. You didn't use the resources that you got. You didn't use that Virgo or that Libra energy that's available to you out here in the universe, right? That's freely accessible for anybody to balance out some things, right? Islam, it said, and hold everyone accountable for your beliefs is not the way of knowledge. Yeah, just and because you was thinking it in your head doesn't mean you got to project that onto everybody else and say that it was you were necessarily right? Because and I've just in my journey, as much as I've been doing stuff, and learning, there's always room to learn more and grow. You know what I mean? So take everything with a grain of salt and just be a little bit more patient. You know what I mean? But at the same time, when reciprocate. You know what I mean? Just reciprocate. At the end of the day, I mean, they will knock the sticks off you. Yeah, like it's not really about going back and forth and saying, oh, what this is right and this is wrong, whatever. Prove it. Put it on paper. Put it into action. And let's bring it. Let's bring it to the table. If it is going to do what you say it is going to do, and you have as much confidence in it as you're projecting, then do it. There's no need for us to go back and forth. Oh yeah, my chip's bigger than yours, and I can knock it off. Like little cartoons. You know what I mean? Where they take the little gloves and stuff and they turn you to a duel. Go turn around, take 10 paces, shooting at each other and stuff. Why? To try to prove a hypothetical that we could easily apply. We could easily put it to the test for everyone to see. Rather than we getting all bent out of shape. Set up an experiment, set your controls, record, observe. You know what I mean? Whoever comes out with the most data wins at that point. And then, once the report is out, then you can go back and check it. Islam, if you just joining us, you can go back and check it and all that good stuff. But I'm gonna finish up this chapter. I ain't gonna try to ramble too much. But we're talking about the workshop of the mind, cognitive thinking. So all of this is really in line at the end of the day. I ain't get off topic for a second. All right. 12. Suppose not death can shield thee from examination. Think not corruption can hide thee from inquiry. He who formed thee of thou knowest not what, can he not raise thee from thou knowest not what again? Perceiveth not the clock the hour of midnight? Exalteth he not his voice to tell thee it is morning? Knoweth not the dog the footsteps of his master? Right? Fleeth not the wounded goat unto the herb that healeth him? Yet when these die, their spirit returneth to dust. Thine alone surviveth. Envy not to these their senses, because quicker than thine own. Learn that the advantage lieth not in possessing good things, but in the knowing to use them. Hast thou the ear of the stag, or where thine eyes is strong and piercing as the eagle's? Didst thou equal the hound in smell, or could the ape resign to thee his taste, or could the tortoise her feeling? Yet without reason, what would they avail thee? Perish not all these like their kindred? Hath any one of them the gift of speech? Can anyone say unto thee, quote, therefore did I do? Question mark. The lips of the wise are as the doors of a cabinet. No sooner are they opened, but treasures are poured out before thee. Like unto trees of gold arranged in beds of silver are wise sentences uttered in due season. Canst thou think too greatly of thy soul, or can too much be said in its praise? Or can too much be said in its praise? It is the image of him who gave it. Remember thou its dignity forever. Forget not how great a talent is committed to thy charge. Whatsoever may do good may also do harm. Beware that thou direct its course to virtue. 22. Think not that thou canst, so like cannot, lose her in a crowd. Suppose not that thou canst bury her in thy closet. Action is her delight, and she will not be withheld from it. Right? So the mind, the mind and the soul is always thinking. You can't really let your soul go dormant. It's always going to do something. This is going to be, going up or down, basically. Her motion, 23, her motion is perpetual. Here we go. Her motion is perpetual. Her attempts are universal. Her agility is not to be suppressed. Is it at the uttermost part of the earth? She will have it. Is it beyond the regions of the stars? Yet will her eye discover it. Inquiry is her delight. As one who traverseth the burning sands in search of water, so is the soul that thirsteth after knowledge. Right? And, for all those who really overstand, you can astral travel anywhere in the universe, in any point in time, right? Anywhere. Islam. 24. Guard her, for she is rash. Restrain her, for she is irregular. Correct her, for she is outrageous. More supple is she than water, more flexible than wax, more yielding than air. Is there aught that can bind her? Right? And that's just reiterating the point. The soul can travel anywhere. Right? As a sword in the hand of a madman, even so is the soul to him who wanteth discretion. I gotta say that again. As a sword in the hand of a madman. Right? Somebody who's crazy. Even so is the soul to him who wanteth discretion. So what were we talking about before? We were talking about cognitive thinking. And one of the synonyms for cognition was discretion. Islam. So if you're in want of discretion, that means you're in want of cognitive thinking. You're in want of more time to think. You need to think about it some more. Islam, just think about it a little bit more. Right? In that workshop of the mind, I'm still going to jump back to that chapter. The end of her search is truth. Her means to discover it are reason and experience. Islam. So how you going to learn? Through reason and experience. You're going to have to reason some things, or you're going to have to experience some things. Either you're going to have to think about it, or you're going to have to do something about it. And learn as you go along. But the soul is not going to let you lie dormant, because its motion is perpetual. And that's why we grow restless all the time. That's why we always go from one extreme to the other, you know, because we're not seeking balance. So we're gonna constantly be, it's like it's gonna be a seesaw until you seek to balance it out. And that's why I'm suggesting, you know, to meditate on that Libra, you know, and that Virgo. Just pay attention to it, you know, from an astrological standpoint. That's just, you know, just a personal tip from New Naji Il. Islam. So 26, let me just read it again. The end of her search is truth. Her means, so you're not going to be able to stop until you find the truth. Islam, so seek the truth. And that's why, Yahshua says, you know, seek ye the truth, and truth will set you free. You know, you can go on and on. It's, you know, her means to discover it are reason and experience. But are not these weak, uncertain, and fallacious? You know, question mark. You know, aren't they? And that's what people will say. It's like in thinking about it and, you know, trying to just go through it. Isn't that weak? You know, in that uncertain? Aren't I supposed? You know. People thinking like, isn't there a shortcut? Isn't there an easier way, New Naji? Isn't there some chute or some ladder? You know, isn't there some ropes that you know about? Because you done been there, you done did it before. You got all the experience. Why don't you tell? You know, can't you just tell me? You know, well, why don't you just tell me, please? Can't you just tell me? And I'm like, I literally, if you all could be a fly on the wall with some of these conversations, y'all who have studied, right? And if I really wanted to put some people on blast, which I ain't gonna do it unless it come there, but like if I really had to put somebody on blast, y'all would see where I'm telling people, all right, this is what you need to do, study, because you're gonna get caught in a whirlwind that you ain't ready for, right? You're not ready. You're mentally not thinking about what you're doing. You're just asking me. And you trying to jump, skip, hoop, you know, and I try to warn y'all ahead of time. Try to tell y'all I'm not playing with y'all. Y'all are grown. Y'all supposed to know this. All right. This is stuff that was supposed to be taught to you in school. All right. We having some network errors. Get that straight. So I'll be cute. He said I'd be cute because I'd be laughing and caught. Islam. But, alright. I think we got it. Y'all back? That's not you. That's not you. That's someone else. Islam. Alright. Yeah, I try to be, but people, I think they looking for something else. You know what I mean? And it's like, because I'm not giving it to them, it frustrates them. But, you know, that's the game, you know, that we play. All right, we back. All right, so we good. But anyway, that's the game y'all want to play at the end of the day. Islam. But I'm telling y'all need to be studying and seeking truth. All right, so I think somebody was having some technical difficulties. Let me reset one more time. Let me just shut everything down and start it right back up. Alright, and y'all bear with me on the video here, the recording. I appreciate you guys. And honestly, really and truly, you get the help when you help yourself. Like, that's when I found the most help. Islam. So we back. I don't know whatever y'all said before this, or they left. All right, whatever y'all said before this, I missed the comment. I don't know what they said, but anyway, let me know. But I'm almost done with this chapter. Nothing. All right, this isn't nothing. Islam. Y'all hold it down for me. Y'all just hold it down. All right, yo, I got some real Moors out here. I just want y'all to know. They be checking. They be holding your boy down. All right, the end of her search is truth. Her means to discover it are reason and experience. But are not these weak, uncertain, and fallacious? When then shall she attain unto it? Right. General opinion is no proof. All right, let me be real clear on this. Verse 27 says, general opinion is no proof of truth. So when they come with their conjecture and their ideas that they haven't really worked through on the workshop of the mind, but it's as we were talking about before, it's hearsay, it's second, third hand, fourth hand knowledge, right? It's a general opinion. That's not proof of truth. Just because you can get a bunch of fools in a room to agree on something foolish, don't mean that foolish idea is the truth or that it's a good idea, right? You can fool some of the people sometimes, but not all the people all the time. You know, Islam. So general opinion is no proof of truth. For the generality of men are ignorant. Common sense ain't common. I'm gonna say this one again. General opinion. This is all of these other yokers and jokers out here, hating on RV Bay for all of the work that they do, and all the other active Moors that uplift the people. General opinion, your general opinion, goofball, is no proof of truth. It doesn't carry any weight. All right? It doesn't satisfy the rules of evidence. It does not pass constitutional muster. All right? Let's move on. Pick a new topic. Pick a new target. All right? This is Noon IG telling you this. Find something else to do better with your time. Islam, we got work to do. Perception of thyself. This is verse 28. The knowledge of him who created thee. The sense of worship thou owest unto him. All right? So, that's what we give all praise due unto Allah. Because it's Allah, the most beneficent, that gives everything. And who sent a thought of Allah by the name of Noble Drew Ali, who was our prophet in these days and times. All right? It's not confusing. Right? Perception of thyself, the knowledge of him who created thee, talking about Allah or God, right? The great God Allah, who created him who created thee, the sense of worship thou owest unto him. Right? Are not these plain before thy face? And behold, what is there more that men needeth to know? What else do you need to know? Islam. I'm gonna read these last three verses again, 26 to 28. The end of her search is truth. Her means to discover it are reason and experience. But are not these weak, uncertain, and fallacious? How then shall she attain unto it? General opinion is no proof of truth. For the generality of men are ignorant. Perception of thyself, the knowledge of him who created thee, the sense of worship thou owest unto him. Are not these plain before thy face? And behold, what is there more that men needed to know? Islam. So if they mad at anyone that brings proof, they need, if they mad at anybody that brings proof, they say in the chat, if they mad at anybody that brings proof, they need to take it up with Allah. You know what I mean? Because it's Allah who is bringing the truth. Right? Because Allah is truth. We could break it down a lot of different ways, Islam. You know, a lot of different aspects, 99 attributes, 99 aspects, you know, virtues, so on and so forth. And it said everything, oh, they also talk about in the chat, said everything RE Bay shows is research to be validated. Yeah, everything RE Bay, they put up, they've done some research or some work in the workshop of the mind before they put it out there. And the fact they're putting it out there means they're willing, right? Because you have something that scholars, you know about, called peer review, right? So like after you've done your dissertation and your whatever upper level writing requirements you have for your doctorate, your colleagues of similar statute, other doctorates who've gone through the rigors of training that you have similar to you, review your document and check it for errors, and they'll write, if they like it or dislike it, if they have a strong opinion, they may give you a peer review. Actually say something, write something about it. Not just talk about it, but write something, right? And typically, from a scholarly standpoint, it will either support or debase whatever the argument is, or it will use the information from whatever the topic is to build on another subject, right? And that would be the most productive thing to do, wouldn't you think? But people got their own reasons, but most of the time they're talking it, they're not writing it down. So it's like if you have a issue with some work that some scholar has done, the best way to challenge it is to handle it from a scholarly perspective. Write something down that attaches or attacks that if that's your intention, if that's what your attention is focused on, pardon me, then, and that is your intention, then go ahead and do it. Don't talk about it, be about it. Islam. Yep, and they said in the chat, then they realized that that's when they learned the truth for themselves. Yep, when you start trying to disprove the truth, that's when you start realizing that you can't do it. You fight and struggle, but you end up drowning in it because it's going to bury you once you start digging deep enough. All right, it's right there, Islam. But you gotta have eyes to see, the ears to hear, and you gotta seek it. That's when your journey, that's when your soul, the quench of your the thirst of your soul is gonna be quenched when you seek the truth and you find it. But you gotta seek it first. You can't just guess it. Islam. So chapter 5, thank you for the folks in the chat helping me out with this one. Chapter 5, after the feast, the homeward journey, the missing Jesus, the search for him, his parents find him in the temple. He goes with them to Nazareth, symbolic meaning of carpenter's tools. Islam. Now I'm just going to do a dry read through of this, unless something jumps out to me. Islam. The great feast of the Pascha was ended, and the Nazarenes were journeying toward their homes. And they were in Samaria. And Mary said, "Where is my son?" No one had seen the boy. And Joseph sought among their kindred who were on their way to Galilee, but they had seen him not. Then Joseph, Mary, and a son of Zebedee returned and sought through all Jerusalem, but could find him not. Or he couldn't find him. And Mary asked the guards, had they seen Jesus, a little boy about 12 years old? The guards replied, "Yes, he is in the temple now disputing with the doctors of the law." And they went in and found him as the guards had said. And Mary said, "Why, Jesus, do you treat your parents thus? Lo, we have sought 2 days." Islam. Lo, we have sought 2 days for you. We feared that some great harm had overtaken you. And Jesus said, Do you not know that I must be about my Father's work? Islam. That's a real serious question. And that's a question that you all need to ask these professional time killers, is what I like to call them, who for lack of better principles, right, would rather question and wonder than to think and demonstrate, right, and get some experience. Or just think about it. Just think about it. Like, that would be the easiest thing, cheapest thing, quickest thing to do. But for whatever reason, they refuse to do it. Anyway. And Jesus said, "Do you not understand that I must be about my Father's work?" But he went round and pressed the hand of every doctor of the law and said, "I trust that we meet again." Islam. Verse 11, and then he went forth with his parents on their way to Nazareth. And when they reached their home, he wrought with Joseph as a carpenter. One day, as he was bringing forth the tools for work, he said, "These tools remind me of the ones we handle in the workshop of the mind." Now pay attention to this, y'all. Verse 12, one day, as he was bringing forth the tools for work, he said, 13, "These tools remind me of the ones we handle in the workshop of the mind, where things are made of thought and where we build up character." Pay attention to what they're building up in the workshop of the mind. Character. 14, we use the square to measure all our lines, to straighten out the crooked places of the way. And we make the corners of our conduct square. The corners of the conduct, right? Think about a box. We make the corners of our conduct square, right? We use the compass to draw the circles around our passions and desires, to keep them in the bounds of righteousness, to keep you in your higher self, right? So you got passions and desires for the finer things in life, whatever that may be, right? You got passion and the desire to be respected as a man, or to be respected as a woman, what have you. You got the passion and desire to do better in life, to have a better family and things of that sort. Square up those passions. And even on a bigger tip, if you have a passion and desire to educate more people on nationality and birthright, right? Square up your passions, right? Square up your passions and desires. Make them more righteous in nature, right? Starting with your character. Don't try to tell everybody else, or try to browbeat anybody else about something when you got, something hanging out your eyes. And I wonder, I might find that other verse, if y'all know the verse in the Red Book where he's talking about that, or it might be in the Circle 7. But yeah, and the boogers in y'all's noses, y'all walking, and that's the other thing. Speaking of boogers in your nose, y'all walking up, to places, looking crazy, boogers hanging out your nose. I heard about it. I know. I seen it, because you're coming to me the same way, and that's foolishness. All right, don't That's not. No. We wash our bodies with water and keep our souls clean with purity and love. All right? Take a bath. Wash your face before y'all step out the house. This is as they say, this is a come to Jesus moment. This is Friday class. We more open here. We ain't got nothing to hide. All right, we family. Islam. It's some character flaws we need to clear up. All right, we're gonna start right here. Right here with that. Let this be a reminder for all the others out there. All right. So Islam, where was I? So these tools remind. So let me start from verse 13. They going in the chat. These tools remind me of the ones we handle in the workshop of the mind, where things are made of thought and where we build up character. We use the square to measure all our lines, to straighten out the crooked places of the way, and make the corners of our conduct square. We use the compass to draw the circles around our passions and desires, to keep them in the bounds of righteousness. We use the axe to cut away the knotty, useless, and ungainly parts, and make the character symmetrical. Right? We use the hammer. All right. So let me pause with that for the cause on that part, because there's a lot of things I want to say, but what was touching in my spirit. And this is for the grown folks only. All right. Parental advisory for this next point. And I had a conversation with Mama L, and we were talking about soul ties, and sexual soul ties, and it was a very interesting conversation to have with your mom. But she was reminding me, and as she often does with her, she's a Capricorn. Shout out to the Capricorn mothers out there. She was saying, you got to pay attention to the people that you connect yourself up with and hook yourself up with, because you create a soul spiritual tie with them, and a little bit of their spirit rubs off on you, because you literally, and we metaphysicians who study this, we know that the chakra system, we know about the chakras, right? We know about that sacral chakra, that's that red, that sacral, that sex chakra, that Scorpio, and how when that's opened up, you opening up portals and dimensions. And when you get to that, that part, that Orlando Brown. Shouts out to Orlando Brown. I see you out there more. Yes, the climax. I was looking for the right word to say, because I don't know where everybody's mind is at. But anyway, when you reach that point, you're opening up those portals, right? Those other dimensions, okay? They can lead you to heaven, or they can lead you to hell. They can lead you to the higher self, or they can take you further, down to your lower self. And that's why so often when we hook up with the wrong folks, it's been my opinion and experience that, it's because you hooked up with the wrong folks, literally, right? And that bad connection that they had, and bad communication, bad ideas, that's mixing up into your soul and your spirit. Islam. And then taking it from an even deeper standpoint, when we, were in quote unquote, when we were in physical captivity, now we're in mental, the era of mental servitude. But when we were in physical captivity, that's why the rape was used so much. You know what I mean? From perspective of trying to control the womb, all right, and the mind and the energies that come from that. And that's why so many of these modern Aleister Crowley nuts and Satanists and everything, they'll do all these sex rituals and whatnot, and the sex magic on people. And that's why, again, you gotta be careful who you hook up with and whatnot, because they'll use your energy against you. All right, Islam. They said, remember to turn on the lights. You will see the glow. Yeah, turn some lights on next time. All right. All right. So this is if the kids, you have to send them out the room, you can bring them back for the rest of the class. I'm gonna try to tone it back down for the rest of y'all. Islam. Try to keep it for everybody, family friendly. We use the axe to cut away the knotty, useless, and ungainly parts. So it's like all the ungainly parts, all the bad relationships you've been through, all the foolishness that you was told by somebody else about nationality and birthright, about the soul, about Moors, and they had, it was coming from people who just had bad character, or you picked up bad habits from somebody in life, right? And this is I'm just speaking in general, right? You can cut it away. with the axe that's within the workshop of the mind. Right? If you just mentally take that idea and, you know, cut it with a little brain axe or whatever, or you know, imagine yourself as a lumberjack or somebody, you know, cutting some stuff, you know, cutting that gangly, useless, knotty. And mind you, the stuff that you're cutting away is useless. All right, it gives you no value. It gives nothing to you of value. So cut it away. Just get rid of it. Right? And this is, you know, this is for things, people, ideas, you know, aspirations, hopes. You know, just cut that away. Deal with what is more righteous. And I guarantee you will get everything you thought you was looking for and more. All right? When you base what you're looking for in truth and righteousness, right? And starting out with love, you know, learn how to love instead of hate, right? And yeah, deal with reality, not necessarily the ideals. You know, you can have an ideal in your mind, but if you're working it out on the physical plane and it's not working out, then you might want to come up with another ideal, or you might want to readjust that ideal. You know, cut it down some, form it up a little bit. You know, give it a little bit firmer base so that you can actually bring that to fruition. You know what I mean? It's cut away. Yep, and they're saying it's cut away by the light, Islam, and we know light, truth. Right? The light is the truth. The truth is light, and the truth will set you free. Islam. Let me finish this chapter up. All right. Y'all with me though. I love it. I love it. Y'all with me in the chat. We use the hammer to drive home the truth. All right. We use the hammer to drive home the truth, and pound it in until it is a part of it is a part of every part. Right? Turn on the light. Hey, going 13 years. All right, yeah. So we use the hammer to drive home the truth and pound it in. Sorry, I was looking at the chat. We use the hammer to drive home the truth and pound it in until it is a part of every part. Until it's a part of every part. We use the plane to smooth the rough, uneven surface of joint and block and board that go to build the temple for the truth. The chisel, line, the plummet, and the saw all have their uses in the workshop of the mind. Islam. And then this ladder with its trinity of steps. So the ladder has a trinity of steps. The three steps, right? 3 steps. Faith, hope, love, and love. On it we climb up to the dome of purity in life. Right? Faith, hope, and love. It's all right. And on the 12th step ladder, we ascend until we reach the pinnacle of that which life is spent to build the temple of perfect man, of perfected man. Right? So let me read the last 3 verses, from 15. I'm gonna do from 13. Let me go from 13, 12. So one day, as he was bringing forth the tools for work, he said, "These tools remind me of the ones we handle in the workshop of the mind, where things are made of thought and where we build up character." All right, keep in mind your character. Cognitive thinking. We gotta think. You know, how does thinking help us? It can help us build up our character. Right. We use the square to measure all our lines to straighten out the crooked places of the way and make the corners of our conduct square. We use the compass to draw the circles around our passions and desires to keep them in the bounds of righteousness. We use the axe to cut away the knotty, useless, and ungainly parts and make the character symmetrical. Symmetrical, right? We're going to look that word up if you don't know what that means. It's got to be balanced. That's why I was getting back talking about the Libra and the Virgo. You know, make good use of your time. Make good use of your thoughts. Right? Be equitable. We use the hammer to drive home the truth and pound it in until it is a part of every part. We use the plane to smooth the rough, uneven surface of joint and block and board that go to build the temple for the truth. The chisel, line, the plummet, and the saw all have their uses in the workshop of the mind. And then this ladder with its trinity of steps, faith, hope, and love, on it we climb up to the dome of purity and life. And on the 12th step ladder, we ascend until we reach the pinnacle of that which life is spent to build the temple of perfected man. Islam. So when we're talking about cognitive thinking and getting back to the original theme of the class here, which I'll put it up just to read the question again for you guys. Oh, this 8:01. Okay, so with that, I wanna start opening the floor up for questions. So if you got any questions, turn on the mics, turn on your videos, and talk to me. But there's just a couple, there's a couple more things I want to touch on. And then we can kind of wrap it up. But I didn't even really get to touch everything I wanted to. Spirit just kind of took over for the day. But I will leave y'all with some secrets. All right. It says we love you, Brandon. All right. Islam. I have to do constant realignment because my mind be on a lot of different stuff. Like I can think about things from a lot of different perspectives, but it's like at the end of the day I got my own opinion on things, and some folks just ain't ready. So I'm trying to think what I want to leave you guys with, because I was like planning to do this whole in-depth talk about the 7 Hermetic principles, but I think we can talk about that later, and you guys can really do that later. And the question was more so about what can you get out of it, or what things go towards it. And I think I accomplished that goal today. But I do want to leave you guys with some things, and I want to make sure that I at least cover the homework, so that those who may not have access to it can go back and look at it later in their own time. All right. So, and I'm just gonna do a quick run through, because y'all know this is long. I know this is real long, so I'm just gonna read the titles of them and maybe like the first couple of sentences, Islam, and then I'll just give you my perspective on it. Oh no, these ain't that long. All right, this is the short. I think this is the short version. All right. So 7 Hermetic principles. The principles of truth are 7. He who knows these understandingly possesses the magic key before whose touch all the doors of the temple fly open. The Kabbalion. Oh, also shouts out to the MoorishDirectory.com, which of course we're sponsored by, and all of this is built under and over and through. And shouts out to Jonathan Bay and the Key. Right. Make sure you check out the Key and get signed up and get a download. PDF copy of it, and start reading through that if any of this really throws you off, or if you're really interested in this topic, right? Because he goes in, that more goes in on this topic. All right, Islam. So we're gonna read through this 7 Hermetic principles upon which the entire Hermetic philosophy is based are as follows: 1, the principle of mentalism; 2, principle of correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, gender, right? These 7 principles will be discussed and explained as we proceed with these lessons. A short explanation of each, however, as well may be given at this point. All right, get some agua. All right. Principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. The Kabbalion. This principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains that the all, which is the substantial reality underlying all the outward manifestations and appearances which we know under the terms of the material universe, the quote-quote phenomena of life, quote-quote matter, quote-quote energy, and in short, all that is apparent in our material sense or senses, is spirit, which in itself is unknowable and undefinable, but which may be considered and thought of as an universal, infinite, living mind. It also explains that all the phenomenal world or universe is simply a mental creation of the all, subject to the laws of created things, and that the universe as a whole and in its parts or units, right? Part and parcel, just think part and parcel, parts and units, part and parcel, right? Has its existence in the mind of the all, in which mind we, quote, live and move and have our being, right? This is talking about the mind of Allah, right? This principle, by establishing the mental nature of the universe, easily explains all of the varied mental and psychic phenomena that occupy such a large portion of the public attention, and which, without such explanation, are non-understandable and defy scientific treatment. An understanding of this great hermetic principle of mentalism enables the individual to readily grasp the laws of the mental universe and to apply the same to his well-being and advancement. The hermetic student is enabled to apply intelligently the great mental laws instead of using them in a haphazard manner. With the master key in his possession, the student may unlock the many doors of the mental and psychic temple of knowledge and enter the same freely and intelligently. This principle explains the true nature of energy, matter, energy, power, and matter, and why and how all these are subordinate to the mastery of mind. One of the old Hermetic masters wrote long ages ago, quote, "He who grasps the truth of the mental nature of the universe is well advanced on the path to mastery," end quote. And these words are as true today as at the time they were first written. Without this master key, mastery is impossible, and the student knocks in vain at the many doors of the temple. Right? So I'm just, alright, I'm going to finish it. The principle of correspondence, as above, so below, as below, so above. This is what I was talking about before with correspondence between the mind and the heart, or the mind and the spirit, right? And the faculties of the spirit and the faculties of the heart. When I was reading the previous chapter, Islam. So this principle embodies the truth that there is also a correspondence between the laws and phenomena of the various planes of being and life. The old Hermetic axiom ran in these words: as above, so below; as below, so above. And the grasping of this principle gives one the means. So when you understand this principle, you will gain the means, right, of solving many a dark paradox. So when you're trying to figure out why, evil persists, as above, so below. Why the foolish people still able to succeed even in their foolishness, as above, so below. Right? And hidden secret of nature. And we actually just read that. Right? When we was talking about the fact of the fool even being protected, basically. And then even in the in the Biblos Helotech, it'll talk about how even fools can speak wisdom. Islam, and God or Allah will still look over them, right? So just keep that in mind. But that's not an encouragement to be foolish or to remain foolish, but just to pay attention. You know what I mean? Islam, because I know some of y'all like to take stuff down the bunny trail, just being funny and goofy. Anyway, in hidden secret of nature, there are planes beyond our knowing. But when we apply the principle of correspondence to them, we are able to understand much that would otherwise be unknowable to us. This principle is of universal application and manifestation on the various planes of the material, mental, and spiritual universe. It is a universal law. Mind y'all, we talking about universal principles and laws here. We still talking law here. The ancient Hermeticists considered this principle as one of the most important mental instruments by which man was able to pry aside the obstacles which hid from view the unknown. Its use even tore aside the veil of Isis to the extent that a glimpse of her face, of the face of the goddess, might be caught, just as a knowledge of the principles of geometry enables man to measure distant suns and their movements. While seated in his observatory, so a knowledge of the principle of correspondence enables man to reason intelligently from the known to the unknown. Studying the monad, he understands the archangel. And that's self-explanatory, y'all. This is self-explanatory. Islam, if not, then, you know, get in the chat and let me know. But it is the perspective of whom thought. Yeah, it is the perspective of whom is thought of a fool. Islam. You know, because what could seem foolish to one person could be wise to the other, you know. Vice versa. Anyway, like so many different lanes, so many different avenues and valleys and streams to this thought pattern here. One, you know, shout outs to the more who asked us again. I can't remember your name on top of my head. But shouts out to you, Islam. So we're gonna finish this up. So nothing rests, everything moves. Hold on, what was I? There are planes beyond our knowing, but when we apply the principle of correspondence to them, we are able to understand. All right, I already read that part. Principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. The Kabbalion, right? This principle embodies the truth that everything is in motion, everything vibrates, nothing is at rest. Facts which modern science endorses, and which each new scientific discovery tends to verify. And yet this Hermetic principle was enunciated thousands of years ago by the masters of ancient Egypt. This principle explains that the differences between different manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit result largely from varying rates of vibration. Right? From the all, which is pure spirit, down to the grossest form of matter, all is in vibration. The higher the vibration, the higher the position in the scale. The vibration of the spirit is at such an infinite rate of intensity and rapidity that it is practically at rest, just as a rapidly moving wheel seems to be motionless. And at the other end of the scale, there are gross forms of matter whose vibrations are so slow as to seem at rest. Between these poles, there are millions upon millions of varying degrees of vibration, from corpuscle and electron, atom and molecule, to words and universes. Everything is in vibration, is in vibratory motion. This is also true on the planes of energy and force, which are but varying degrees of vibration, and also on the mental planes whose states depend on vibrations, and even on the spiritual planes. An understanding of this principle with the appropriate formulas enables Hermetic students to control their own mental vibrations as well as those of others. Uh-oh. Did we just find the secret to mind control? Oh, I'm sorry. The masters also applied this principle to conquering natural phenomena in various ways. Is that how, you know, people used to move stuff, or people could today move stuff with their mind? Is that how you do cloud busting, new Najee? And change, you know, is that how the rain man used to do the dance and bring the rain around? Were they using the correspondence, you know, S above, so below, and vibration? Were they using these Hermetic principles? I don't know. I don't know. Think about it. So, the masters also apply this principle to the conquering of natural phenomena. I guess they do in various ways. It says it right there. He who understands the principle of vibration has grasped the scepter of power, says one of the old writers. I agree. The principle of polarity. Everything is dual, right? Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. And this is really how I feel with a lot of the questions that people have, you know, that are more philosophical in nature. It's like everything's half right and half wrong. It just depends on how you're looking at it. You know what I mean? Islam, let me just check the chat. Checking over here. And wise food. Yes, that whole Hollywood. Yeah, it's called the Hollywood effect, man. They playing crazy. I don't know what's going on with these people. Really though, a lot of y'all go on Hollywood for no reason, and everybody that's Hollywood is trying to come back to the hood for some reason. I wonder why. Maybe they got all that money and found out that, you know, they couldn't buy happiness. They couldn't buy security. Couldn't buy peace of mind. I wonder if all that fiat became their prison at the end of the day. Mentally, physically, emotionally, you know, spiritually. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, this principle embodies the truth. And I mean, like, when you really think about the first Buddha, wasn't he like a prince or something that was rich? Did he take a, you know, he didn't have it all, so he took this vow of being of poverty? I'm just saying, you know, there might be a reason behind that. This principle embodies the truth that everything is dual, everything has two poles, everything has its pair of opposites, all of which were old Hermetic axioms. It explains the old paradoxes that have perplexed so many, which have been stated as follows. Thesis and antithesis are identical in nature, but different in degree. Opposites are the same, differing only in degree. The pairs of opposites may be reconciled. Extremes meet. Everything is and isn't at the same time. All truths are but half-truths. Every truth is half false. There are two sides to everything, etc., etc., etc. It explains that in everything there are two poles or opposite aspects, and that opposites are really only the two extremes of the same thing, with many varying degrees between them. To illustrate heat and cold, although opposites, right? I think y'all pretty much got that one, right? And I'll let y'all finish it and read it if y'all want to, because we cutting up on time and I really want to get to questions. In the last few, I think, yeah, that's 4. Rhythm, everything flows out and in, everything has its tides. All tides rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates, right? Y'all check that one out. Basically, everything, you know, what goes around comes around, basically. Cause and effect. Everything has its effect. Every effect has its cause. And this is, again, everything what goes around comes around. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law, right? So everything has a reason. You know, chance is but a name for law not recognized, right? This principle embodies the fact that there is a cause for every effect, an effect from every cause. It explains that, quote, everything happens according to law, that nothing ever merely happens, right? That there is no such thing as chance, that while there are various planes of cause and effect, the higher dominating the lower planes, still nothing ever entirely escapes the law. The Hermeticists understand the art and methods of rising or raising above the ordinary plane of cause and effect to a certain degree, and mentally raising to a higher plane, they become causers instead of effects, right? And this is kind of getting what I was touching on when I was talking to, you know, on the blog talk about, you know, becoming that dot in the center of the circle, you know, with the for the symbol, you know, the Hermetic symbol for the sun, or whatever, this, you know, esoteric symbol for the sun is that circle with a dot in the middle. It's like if you become that dot, you become a creator instead of being, you know, something that is created, right? Or an effect. You become the cause. Islam. The masses of people are carried along, obedient to the environment, the wills and desires of others stronger than themselves. Heredity suggest, and again with that, you have to have a stronger will within you. So greater is he that's within me than he that's within the world. You know what I mean? So if you got a stronger will, if you operating based on Allah's will, and it's stronger in you, you got, you know, the word or the spirit in you stronger than whatever you got in your head from outside of yourself, then you'll be able to manifest whatever you need. You know, could hope, wish, desire, or even imagine. Right? The masses of people are carried along obedient to environment. And this is so true. The masses of people are carried along obedient to environment, the wills and desires of others stronger than themselves. Heredity, suggestion, and other outward causes moving them about like pawns on the chessboard of life. But the masters rising to the plane above, dominate their moods, characters, qualities, and powers, as well as the environment surrounding them, and become movers instead of pawns. They help to play the game of life instead of being played and moved about by other wills and environment. Now, keep that in mind. Other wills and environment. All right. You got these Europeans, and this is kind of backing up into some other concepts. You got these Europeans that have got in their family wills and in their documentation and these paper bulls and whatnot to destroy you as a people. Right? Moors. This is part of their will. This is part of their mindset, their desire as a people, as an individual, collective, and acting collectively. It's like, when are you gonna put everything together? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not in the least bit trying to incite anybody to do anything foolish, but think about what you're dealing with. Think about it. Deal with it. Let's move forward from a logical perspective. And keep in mind, we've got these principles here that supersede anything that can happen, from whatever we think is our opposition on this plane. All right. Let me just try to finish this out. All right. They use the principle instead of being its tools. The masters obey the causation of the higher planes, but they help to rule on their own plane. In this statement, there is condensed a wealth of Hermetic knowledge. Let him read who can. Islam. The principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. Right? The principle embodies the truth that there is gender manifested in everything, the masculine and feminine principles ever at work. There is true not only the physical plane, but of the mental plane, and even the spiritual planes. On the physical plane, the principle manifests as sex. On the higher planes, it takes higher forms, but the principle is ever the same. No creation, physical, mental, or spiritual, is possible without this principle. An understanding of its laws will throw light on many a subject that has perplexed the minds of men. The principle of gender works ever in the direction of generation, regeneration, and creation. Everything and every principle contains the two elements or principles, or this great principle within it, him or her. Every male thing has the female element also. Every female contains also the male principle. If you would understand the philosophy of mental and spiritual creation, many mysteries of life, creation, generation, and regeneration, you must understand and study this Hermetic principle. It contains the solution of many mysteries of life. We caution you that this principle has no reference to the many base, pernicious, and degrading lustful theories, teachings, and practices which are taught under fanciful titles and which are a prostitution of the great natural principle of gender. Such base revivals of the ancient infamous forms of phallicism tend to ruin mind, body, and soul. And Hermetic philosophy has ever sounded the warning note against these degraded teachings which tend toward lust, lasciviousness, and perversion of nature's principles. If you seek such teachings, you must go elsewhere for them. Hermeticism contains nothing for you along these lines. To the pure, all things are pure. To the base, all things are base. And on that note, I would just like to say, for all the LGBTQ people out there, stop trying to use the 7 Hermetic principles to justify being gay, and trying to say that, you got a dual soul or a dual spirit, and that makes you some kind of higher spiritual being or something. Like, nah, you're perverting universal laws, because at the end of the day, you're practicing suicide, and you're teaching other people suicide as a culture, Islam, and that's dead culture at the end of the day. All right, so I'll open the floor for questions, and all of that good stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's like, how would you, going from the chat, they're just using our ancestors' work again. Yeah, pretty much. They're trying to. At any rate. So I will give you guys these two, or these few, this little spot right here, and then I'm gonna let it go. So 3 tools. So we have seven raw materials, and this is coming from 7 Principles of Love. You know, shout out to RV Bay. So, all right, yeah. So from page 22, starting at the top, I'm reading. However, given the extreme resistance that human beings and institutions of belief and negative character have from the fear of being eliminated or even opposed, it is clear that the advanced creational universal truths will not be appreciated or understood as really important by most peoples in the near future. Yet it is possible to have many people learn the basics. Whether one functions in a positive or negative mode or set of structures, processes, and reality, there are some common fabric between them. Each being, whether human, alien, godly, or primitive, has the same fundamental properties of free will gifted to each as souls within the creation from the beginning. These can be described as raw materials and the tools we have to shape the raw materials, whether in a positive or negative manner and form. We have only 7 raw materials: self, belief, and attitude, feeling and thinking, decision and choice. Publishers note, our self is a projection of our choices, and our beliefs are of our decision. Our attitude is based in the way in which we think, and all of these points are determined by our feelings. 3 tools of the workshop. The raw materials are coupled with the 3 tools which shape them: desire, imagination, expectation. No being, no matter what level in evolution or spirituality, has no more raw materials or tools. However, it is clear that some beings are far more adept in working their tools and shaping their raw materials than others. We must then begin to analyze what we have done with these raw materials and precious tools. And with the power of the logic of truth and in honest humility to the true, awesome beauty of it all, we can chart a course and build a bridge to move from negative to positive human and spiritual character. This course unveils the ways the material and spiritual developments can come into harmony for any human who honestly wants to grow and evolve beyond the limitations of the physical universe and its associated worlds and semi-spiritual stratifications. While we are physical, the way to develop spiritual existence is through operating the 12 positive dynamic energies that we can function and exercise as humans in the creation. These energies are composed of 2 kinds, generating and sustaining energies. The generating energies, trust, gratitude, thankfulness and humility, which is thankfulness, humility, joy and happiness, meeting preferences and needs, aliveness, which is love, trust, expectancy, enthusiasm, love, also sustaining energy, intimacy, also sustaining energy, self-values, positive self. Publishers note, when you have self-values, you can trust. Gratitude brings intimacy. Love brings joy and happiness. When these points are in order, one is living a life of aliveness, with love and enthusiasm and the expectancy of trust. The 5 sustaining energies, all right? Number 1, power of will towards meaningful destiny, imagination and vision, confidence, intimacy, love. So the note, willpower, particularly towards a meaningful destiny, is often motivated by love as its sustaining energy. Love is a generating energy and a sustaining energy. Willpower is a powerful sustaining energy, and love is a powerful motivating and generating energy. Thus, when one is sustained by the motivating energy of love, it is probably the most powerful and the most pure. Yet we block these activities due to being hurt, angry, etc. One's imagination or vision keeps them on track towards what they will to do. Thus is a sustaining energy. Intimacy is a sustaining energy and a motivating energy. People want someone to be with, to talk to share with, to cuddle with. They imagine or vision and express these visions through communications, i.e. songs that describe the intimacy. Such then that intimacy creates imagination. Imagination creates intimacy. Both are sustaining energies. You can see clearly why intimacy is both a generating and sustaining energy. When one is in positive possession of these sustaining energies, they are confident. Their confidence is a great sustaining energy. Possibly one of the greatest, as without it, people generally will not act upon anything. Let me read that again. Possibly one of the greatest, as without it, people generally will not act upon anything. Therefore, there will be no motivation or generation of anything, and thus nothing to sustain positively. Love and intimacy are found to have both generating and sustaining energy qualities. With these energies and our raw materials and tools, we can rapidly evolve our spiritual capacity and positively fulfill our work of evolution as physical beings in the physical universe. The functioning of these energies can only be effectually prevented by the four human stagnation causes. All right, and this is the last little part. 4 causes of stagnation: when one's beliefs are too limited and imagine an image of self is not large enough. 2, when one creates blockages of negative patterns and payoffs to ego. 3, when one contracts and scripts internal and external agreements of fear of scripts as well. And fear of scripts as well. 4, chemistry and mechanics. Created dysfunctional DNA and indoctrinate electromagnetic forces. Publisher's note: without imagination, one cannot vision themselves, and thus there is nothing to play out into manifestation. This is usually and generally caused by one's limited beliefs that prevent them from imagining. Once they have made payoffs to their ego, they have created patterns that block them from seeing reality and dealing with it. Thus, they are stagnated. One makes contracts or scripts both internally and externally. Most of the time, these are made out of fear, and fear causes one to diminish their responsibility and blocks their ability to see reality. All right? So, pretty much self-explanatory. It's 8:33, so I got any last-minute questions or comments? Whoo, I know, I'm over here tired. But was this good, y'all? How y'all feeling? Let me know in the chat. All right, Islam. They're using ancestors, even though they thought you'd be on the next. I ain't got like no one. That's the books. First class you join. All right, Islam. If you just now joining me, if it's the first class, welcome. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Most of all, a little higher. What's a little higher? I need to look at the question. Oh, what's the question? Can you retype the question? Because I don't see anything. Yeah, please retype it for me. All right, so we got a question about time when you were there, and also oh, I just called in like last night to the Sons of Allah class. The Thursday class that they do with Brother Mizraim and Brother Cujo. Yeah, it was just at the end. I just had to drop some 2 cents because I had a lot of stuff on my head last night. But yeah. We gonna end this. Thank you guys for checking out on YouTube. It's just a process of thinking. Alright? So it could, it could be one thought, it could be multiple thoughts that you're having. To think, the verb, right? Have a particular opinion, belief, or idea about someone or something. Direct one's mind towards someone or something. Now this is important. The verb, think. So thinking is a verb, right? And it says direct one's mind towards someone or something. Use one's mind actively to form connected ideas. All right? And let's just talk about that for a second. So, directing the mind towards a focused either object or person or, another idea to, develop it. And it kind of reminds you, let's see if I can find my circle 7 right here. See if I can find that part, and y'all let me know. But I think that might have something to do with this part where it says something about the workshop of the mind and these tools and things of that sort. And at the end of the day, they're talking about thought and the power of the mind. But, and that's within our, text as Moors. So this is what's coming out of the secrets of the East, right? That were held back from the rest of the world, but were given to the Moors because we needed a prophet the most, and we needed the truth, right? So, there we go. All right, now we're back. So, thought 1800s, and I wanted to jump back right quick. Cognition, just to show you guys 1800s, right? Again, so 1800s. We're just looking at the timeline right now, right? All right, 1800s. And of course, this is not to say that was the exact point, but give or take, that's the bulk of the usage, right, of the term. But when we're talking about thought, right, let me get the screen back to y'all. Sorry for that. When we're talking about thought, let's look at this. So Denken, right, and then we also got thinking. All right. I'm just pulling these up just to see if we can find anything. So just verb conjugation. All right. So nothing on the Google about that, but we had to dig a little bit deeper. So when we're looking at the noun of thought, right? It's an idea or opinion produced by thinking or occurring suddenly in the mind. Right? So there has to be something, going on already in your head, in one's mind or attention, right? You have to give some focus to it, right? An act considering or remembering someone or something, an intention, hope, idea, doing something, receiving something. The action or process. As I'm looking this up, I'm contemplating on the fact of like how can we as Moors better focus our thoughts, right? Because the brother's question was talking about cognitive thinking, and he was saying, basically how can cognitive thinking help with the mental activities and skills, or performing such skills and tasks such as learning, reasoning, understanding, remembering, paying attention, and more. And it's like the brain, in a lot of ways, modern science has found out, in a lot of ways, the brain mimics the modern computer, right? In the sense that you can program it to do certain tasks, you can train it, right? And then we know the muscles have, just generally what's known as muscle memory, right? You ask a boxer or anybody that's, done sports or anything, why they practice so much. It's not really so much to build the physical strength of doing the act of hitting the ball or, catching it or whatever. It's more so to become more skilled at it so that you can do it in a number of ways, right? And be, more flexible and more effective at the end of the day. But you definitely want to make sure that you're building up that muscle memory so that when it, when times of stress, it's the fourth quarter, what have you, you're not even thinking necessarily about what to do next. Your body already knows. Islam, you already know what to do next because you've been building up that muscle memory, from the jump, from the jake, you know what I mean? Like you really have to pay attention, to proper preparation prevents poor performance. Like that phrase. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. So if I'm preparing for something, or if not so much that I'm preparing for something, but if I'm being a good steward, kind of taking off the things from last week about talking about trust. If I'm being a good steward, there's certain things that I need to be doing to preserve what I have, right? And with that, if I'm not preserving it, then it's going to wither away and I'm not going to have it much longer. Now, and I'm still looking for this piece, and you guys let me know if you know the chapter that I was alluding to earlier about where he's talking about the workshop of the mind, because at the moment I'm thinking about a number of things to talk about at the same time. But let me just read this, and y'all help me out in the chat. But this is from chapter 38, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, the Soul of Man. All right. The blessing, O man, of thy external part is health, vigor, and proportion. The greatest of these is health. What health is to the body, even that is honesty to the soul. That thou hast a soul is of all knowledge, the most certain of all truths, the most plain unto thee. Be meek, be grateful for it. Seek not to know it perfectly. It is inscrutable. Islam. Peace. Just for those who just checking in, for right now, please turn off your cameras and mute the mic just for to say the bandwidth, and then we open the floor for questions. We can open it back up. All right. He had to leave. All right. But Islam. All right. Thank you more. All right. We're gonna keep it moving. Sorry for that. I didn't mean to run them off. Hold on, maybe that's who. And I don't mean to be trying to scare nobody or nothing, but I just it's housekeeping. All right, he got it. All right. Anyway, verse 3: thinking, understanding. All right, he back. We good. Thinking, understanding, reasoning, willing. Call not these the soul. They are its actions, but they are not its essence. Raise it not too high. Talking about the soul, right? Raise it not too high, that thou be not despised. Be not thou like unto those who fall by climbing, neither debase it to the sense of brutes, nor be thou like the horse and the mule, in whom there is no understanding. Chapter 5, thank you, Islam. I'm going to jump right to that. All right. And I'm just going to finish this chapter out because it's, the spirit is moving me, Islam. Just a tad. Verse 5, search it by its faculties know it by its virtues. We're still talking about the soul. This is chapter 38, holy instructions from the prophet, the soul of man. If you guys just joined us from the Circle 7. Search it by its faculties, know it by its virtues. They are more in number than the hairs of thy head. The stars of heaven are not to be counted with them. Right? Now, these faculties, when they talk about search it by its faculties, know it by its virtues, we're talking about the soul, right? But we could also, because we know if we we understand the laws of correspondence, and if you did the homework, which we'll touch on the homework in a second, which was the 7 Hermetic principles, if you want to look that up. The law of correspondence. Then we might have some internet issues. Let me reset in the chat room.